In a world already strained by overlapping crises, a new geopolitical flashpoint has emerged in the Middle East. Iran has publicly declared its support for Qatar, after recent hostilities with Israel intensified, signaling what may be the beginning of a new era of regional power alignments. As tensions rise, one statement has captured global attention: Tehran's announcement of its 27-ton long-range missile. The Acher Al Zaman, meaning arrow of time, but beyond the military symbolism, what does this mean for the world economy, for Israel's deterrence strategy, and for the fragile balance of power in the region? For decades, Iran and Qatar have maintained cautious diplomatic relations, bound by shared geography and energy interests, but divided by ideology and alliances. Yet the latest events have changed that calculus. Following Israeli air operations near Doha's defense perimeter, Iran has stepped forward with an explicit message: any attack on Qatar is an attack on Tehran's regional interests. This statement not only strengthens the Gulf's anti-Israel axis, but also challenges the monopoly of Western-backed defense coalitions. Analysts view this as Iran's most assertive military posture since the 2019 Gulf tanker crisis. For years, Israel's military dominance in the region has gone largely uncontested. But with Iran's open backing of Qatar and the introduction of the Acher Al Zaman missile, the balance of deterrence is shifting. The missile, reportedly capable of carrying a heavy payload over 2,000 kilometers, represents not only a physical threat, but a psychological one. It sends a clear message: the age of unilateral Israeli military superiority is fading. As Israeli defense experts scramble to assess vulnerabilities, questions are being raised about the long-term sustainability of Israel's multi-front strategy. The Arrow of Time missile is as much a statement as it is a weapon. It symbolizes Iran's claim to technological sovereignty and regional leadership. For Tehran, unveiling this missile during a moment of regional volatility is an act of narrative control, asserting that the future belongs not to those who dominate militarily, but to those who outlast economically and politically. Professor Wolff points out that this move aligns with a broader global trend: nations using military symbolism to project economic independence, signaling resistance to Western sanctions and financial isolation. The announcement immediately affected global markets. Oil prices jumped nearly 6% within hours, while investors rushed to safe havens like gold and the Swiss franc. The energy corridor through the Persian Gulf now faces potential disruptions, threatening shipping stability and insurance costs worldwide. From an economic standpoint, Professor Wolff explains that these tensions reveal the fragility of neoliberal globalization,
where one regional shock can send financial tremors across continents. The Middle East once again becomes both the world's energy supplier and its greatest economic risk factor.
Washington, Brussels, and Beijing now face a new diplomatic test. Supporting Israel risks alienating Qatar, a vital energy supplier for Europe's post-Russia strategy. Meanwhile, confronting Iran could unravel the ongoing nuclear dialogue. Russia, for its part, stands to gain, watching Western alliances fracture while expanding its own trade links through Tehran. Cold War order is dissolving, replaced by a multipolar struggle for resources, influence, and narrative dominance. Lost in the noise of strategy and weaponry are the lives of ordinary people. Every new missile, every new sanction, deepens humanitarian suffering across the region, from Gaza to Tehran, from Tel Aviv to Doha. Professor Wolff reminds us that wars are not only fought with bombs, but with budgets, and it is the working class that pays the price for geopolitical ambition. Economic collapse, inflation, and displacement become invisible weapons of modern conflict. As the Middle East braces for yet another cycle of escalation, one truth stands out: power is shifting from military might to economic endurance. The Acher Al Zaman missile may be Iran's show of force, but it also reflects the global system's weakness, where power depends as much on financial resilience as on firepower. Professor Wolff concludes with a warning and a hope: If nations continue to invest more in domination than cooperation, history will repeat itself. But if this crisis leads to reflection rather than retaliation, perhaps the arrow of time can still point toward peace. In a rapidly transforming Middle East, Iran has once again taken center stage, signaling a new and dangerous escalation in regional tensions. In late June 2025, Tehran confirmed that it had launched a series of long-range missiles targeting the U.S. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest American installation in the Gulf. Iranian officials described the strike as a direct response to U.S. air operations against its nuclear facilities, while Qatar's defense system intercepted most of the missiles. Satellite imagery later revealed damage to a key communications dome within the base. No casualties were officially reported, but the event rattled global markets and exposed the vulnerability of Western military presence in the region. Qatar, in a rare public move, pledged compensation to residents affected by falling missile debris, a signal of how deeply these geopolitical games are now affecting ordinary civilians. At the same time, the Iran-Israel confrontation has continued to intensify. In June, Iran launched over 100 ballistic missiles and dozens of drones toward Israel, following Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear and military infrastructure. Several of the Iranian projectiles breached Israel's Iron Dome defenses, hitting parts of Tel Aviv and injuring at least 22 people.